Welcome to today's ASMR video. Today I thought I'd talk about how do we deal with difficult people. I want you to think of a time maybe you were interacting with someone, and you felt uncomfortable in their presence. You felt that they were difficulty. And as you're sitting there and you're talking to them, you maybe think to yourself, I don't know if I'm going to get on with this person. It could be that person's quite argumentative, or you notice that their voice is starting to rise up, but speak so loud, and you can feel the palm of your hand starting to sweat. You can feel your breath starting to get shorter, and you can feel yourself just getting angry for no reason, just because this person seems to aggravate you because of the way they are acting. So if we have a conversation with somebody who makes us feel like that, what do we decide? Do we think, I've had enough? It's time for me to walk away. Will you walk away? Do you walk out? Do you get about 5 steps away and then it hits you, and you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said what I said, or it might have been better if I'd have said this and I'd got to them. And that is a project of our brain. So when we meet somebody, maybe the first time that we meet somebody and we shake their hands, what vibes do we get? We might say, hello, how are you? It's nice to meet you. My name is Margaret. And you shake their hand. What do you feel when they shake your hand back? Or at the back of your mind, what are you thinking? Have you already made a decision that, oh, I'm not going to like this person. This person doesn't seem to be my kind of person. Has that ever happened to you? Well, if you've experienced that, trust me, sorry, my hair's in the way. You're not alone. Our brain is designed for survival. And it's what Daniel Gorman calls the low road the low road. Have you heard of this low road? If you have, please comment down below. This low road is where we take a look at others, and we call it the system and the fear regulations of our fight or flight response. Fight or flight, fight or flight, fight or flight. We get this response when we deal with difficult people. How do you feel? How has it made you react? Do you think, what am I doing? Do you think I need to get past that response? It's natural, isn't it? It's a natural response that we all experience, that we have, in fact, how can I explain this? It's an important response, isn't it? Our body responds in certain ways to protect us, so it's a response. So, for example, stress. When we're stressed, this comes into the body, the body. So we see things. We see the adrenaline, the cortisol. It floods the system. So when we're engaged with those difficult people, we are in a heightened state of anxiety. And during that heightened state of anxiety, have you noticed that our other systems start to shut down? We don't think rationally, do we? Our metabolism slows all the way down. We can even develop acne from having too much stress hormones that release in the body. These stress hormones release into the body. That's the way it works. Do we want these stress hormones to release into our body? So, thinking of it like that, that's another reason why we don't want to live our life in conflict, especially in the workplace between difficult people. We all have different personalities, and if we find it difficult, then it can have serious impact upon us. And ultimately, what does it cause? It causes a turnover. It also causes absence. It causes tears. It can even cause projects to fail. Failure. So, what can we do about that? What can we do? We can't change other people. We can't change their behaviours. I can't make somebody behave in an appropriate manner. I can't make people behave how I want them to behave. So I guess maybe if we can't get people to change, we need to look internally. We need to look at different framework of operating. So when we look at people and we look at how they operate, how they work, then one of the ways that we can start to change would be ourselves, wouldn't it? We'd have to change the conversation with ourselves, and we'd have to look how we label them. Do we label them reliable, someone difficult, or a pain? And you know what? We also have these archetypes, different archetypes around us. And we tend to create names for people. So let me think of some examples. So one of the people that you might bump into, you might encounter, you could work with them in the office, your place of work, then you could have a conversation with this person, nice conversation, and they won't lift their head up. It's constantly like this. So we're talking to them and nothing. They're just sitting there and they're on the phone and they're texting. Or they're hiding their phone under the computer and they're not interested. They're not paying any attention whatsoever to what we are saying. If you've come across this type of person, then write it down below. I'm calling this type of person the non-listener. The non-listener. There's other archetypes as well. Let me think of another example. We could have somebody, we could call them the one upper. If you've ever been to a party, and you're telling a story or you're reciting an experience about what you've done, where you've been, blah, and what happens? They have to tell a better story, better story. They've done more. They've got something bigger. Or you go out and you buy a dress, and then somebody has to get a better dress. I remember that happening to me once when we bought a TV. Somebody came round, we bought a big TV for the children, and then a few weeks later this person said, "Oh, I've bought one now and mine is 5 inches bigger than yours." So those are what you call the one upper archetypes. The person that walks around and gossips as well. Have you got one of those Have you met one of those? And they gossip all about different people in the office. So they go to that one person, and they go to somebody else. It's almost as if they just want to stir trouble. You just give them a wooden spoon. Wow. And how does that make you feel when you see and you hear that person? The person that's been there and seen it and done that and has the t-shirt and has something printed on it for you, then they talk about the glory days of everything, don't they? The glory, they've done this, they've done that, this is right, oh no, that's wrong, don't do this, oh, I wouldn't do that, oh, your organisation's this, or the work you do is that. Now, when you think about it, you may have to work with these sort of people, and you can guarantee that at some point while you're working with these type of people, they say this or do this. They say they were talking about, or they've done this. So we can see that there are these archetypes everywhere that we go. We can put our own names on them. You know, we imagine their face and we've got a name for all of these individuals. You might think, what is she on about? Yeah, I can see you all nodding, agreeing. Oh, somebody there's not agreeing with me. No. You've probably not had the same experiences that I've had. So, when we work with these people and when we understand that the people there are different, I think their behaviours are different, they're not the same, then the way they behave can really impact us, impact us as individuals. And we know that they're not going to change. But the simple message then is, why should we have to change? Why should we have to observe all these things? Why? Why us? Why change ourselves? Well, there's a simple answer to this. Because if somebody else's behaviour is affecting us and making us ill, the reason why we have to change is because it's going to be our heart attack, it's going to be our stress levels, they're going to go through the roof. We're the ones that are going to suffer. These stress hormones are going to come out on us, and all these are killers. So it's going to be your heart attack, your stressful situation. So yeah, if we can't change other people, then let's change the way we look at them. What do you think to that? Comment down below if you agree, or how you think we could change the way we are, or the way we treat these other people. It's a unique approach, isn't it? Unique approach. And need to use our intelligence. So, how do we use our intelligence? When you think of it, there's 4 quadrants here to be able to explain existing behaviours, and then there's predict future behaviour and influences of this. Or how does their behaviour influence, and how can we control our own behaviours? Well, shall we talk about that? 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 We'll talk about that in the context of difficult people. So, one of the things that we want to look at is how do we explain behaviour? So how would you explain behaviours, especially when we see somebody and their behaviour is different, and we see these people do something that we really don't like. We don't like. Well, it could be that they are very stubborn. And at the same time, couldn't we say, if our best friend was doing exactly the same as that person, would we be so critical? Or would we say, oh, they've just got a strong personality. That's the way they are. So we can see there that somebody who does something that we don't really like, we feel that it's aggressive, and on the other hand, we have a friend who comes across a little bit that way, then we look at our friend and we don't say, oh, that's aggressive behaviour, do we? What do we say? We say, wow, they're dedicated, aren't they? They're quite high-spirited, they're motivated, they're passionate in what they do. Are you getting the point here? So some of these labels that we may use start to infiltrate the way that we understand the world and the surroundings, and what we're doing becomes a bias. Yeah, do we realise that we have developed this bias? So what we want to do is take a look a bit deeper, and ask the question. We're asking the question, why did somebody behave that way? Is it something inherent? It's an interesting desire, isn't it? That's pushing them. What is it? Something that's pushing them? An interesting desire? Is it inherent? What is it that makes them behave that way? This is a tough question. And it's a tough question because we're in the heat of the moment. Heat of the moment. Heat of the moment. So one of the things that we get then is we get frustrated. We get really, really frustrated with ourselves. We get frustrated with ourselves in that moment, don't we? We don't take the time to actually ask. We just label it. Any examples that you have regarding this, and please comment down below. I'd love you to share your experiences. But then again, the way we act is it's us. We don't want the effect to cause us illness, to cause us stress, to cause us harm, to cause this heart attack. So let's look at things in a different way. We could ask questions, couldn't we? Questions. Asking questions is always the best way to explore behaviour. And I'm going to give you an example of this. This is an experience. It's my experience. And this happened many years ago. I was in my corporate days, and I was working with 2 different divisional managers. And in the organisation that I worked with, 2 completely different teams, and I was facilitating at the time. And one manager was saying to me, whatever this person is asked to do, they just don't seem to be interested. So I'm going to rename them. I'm going to call them Bill and Ted for argument's sake, and that's going to protect who these people are and their identity. So we go back to Bill and Ted, and Bill was the one that didn't seem to be listening to what Ted was telling him or asking him. It seemed as if they couldn't get along in any shape, any way, or any form. And it was frustrating, and they were constantly at loggerheads with each other and snapping all the time, and it made the atmosphere really odd. It was causing projects to fail, and as we all know, when we've worked in corporate businesses, we can't have failure. Failure isn't an option. So that's when they asked me to step in just to take a look at what was going on and have a look at behaviours and see what I could come up with. Well, it was quite interesting, really, because behaviours can create situations, and so obviously the behaviours on both parts were causing a situation. So I sat down and I spoke with both of them, but what I asked Bill and Ted to do was to write down everything that they felt about the other person, feelings about the other person. So what I asked them to do, I asked them to put everything on paper, write it down and put it on paper. down and put it on paper. And then I asked them to submit all that back to me. They gave me back the paper so I could take a look at this and read through it. Reading through all the paperwork. And as I'm reading through this paperwork, the value of being an objective outsider is you observe things and you notice things that are really valuable, that are incredibly valuable. And by taking this out of the situation, you're able then to come to an understanding as to why things are going wrong and what is it that I can do to help move this situation forward. Well, as I started to read each written information, I read that Bill wrote about Ted. And Bill says that Ted is constantly coming to his office, asking questions all the time. He's constantly bothering him, and he will never leave me alone. So much so, he said he is constantly on my case. Okay, so then I read Ted's, and this is where Ted was writing about Bill, and he said, Bill just can't be bothered with me. Doesn't matter what I do, what I say. You know, my manager keeps saying, look, you've got to go and you've got to find out. You've got to get all these answers. You've got to put this report together. And so I'm asking all of these questions. I need to find out more. Because I do to complete this project. And he is so experienced, and he's the one that can help us run this project. And his knowledge, he's like an encyclopedia. He adds so much value to the organisation. But he just won't listen. He won't listen. He just doesn't listen. So I bring these two people together in a room and I put them at the table, and I then share with them what they have written down. So I've shared each other's perspective. And when all of a sudden they look at each other, this is what I call a light bulb moment. And it's, oh my goodness, I had no idea whatsoever that you valued my opinion so much. And on the other side, then it was, oh my goodness, I can't believe that the way that I'm coming across is so rude, so totally rude. I'm horrified that in this environment I'm coming across as being so rude. And then all of a sudden they were both able to answer each other, and it was quite nice really to see that the tension had broken in the office. The narrative was there, nothing was hidden, and the project then took off and it was fine. And to think that they didn't ask questions, they just labelled each other with different labels. They really had made up their mind what archetype these people each other was. So once we can explain behaviours, then we can predict behaviours, can't we? We can predict how somebody is going to react, and we can also predict what is going to happen. So that's going to be to our benefit, and that's going to help us to reduce uncertainty, to reduce the uncertainty, because that's one of the main things, isn't it? Uncertainty. So if you've ever gotten a phone call, maybe from a superior, and they say that they want you to be in their office at a certain time, what happens to your mind? Do you immediately think, yes, I'm getting a pay rise? The boss thinks I am fantastic. Is that what happens? No, it's, oh my goodness, what's happened? What's he going to do? What have I done? Did I do this wrong? Oh my goodness. And this is when we start to get stressed. This is when we let things just get carried away. We start thinking to ourselves, and we can get everything confused and everything mixed up, thinking, oh, what have I done? Oh my goodness. And you get really, really nervous and worked up, and the feeling that you bring to yourself is uncertainty. But isn't it such a nice surprise when we do go to the office that it's nothing like that at all, you see? So we have to be careful that we don't just bring the anxiety on. And when we're in a conversation, let's step away from that anxiety. Let's just take those steps back. It can happen in a relationship as well. And we just think that the other person could be feeling a certain way. But if we're able to predict what is going to happen, because we know the behaviours, the mechanisms of the other person, then it does reduce anxiety on our part, and it causes us less stress. If you've ever been in these situations, then comment. I know I've said this before, but where were you? You know, just don't go on what people say. They may not know you. Don't listen to gossip. Don't let that get to you. Oh, X, Y, and Z said this. Don't be offended by it. Just let it just slide away. That's just how some people are. That's how some people operate. So it's a fundamental effect, isn't it, of prediction. So if we forgive as well, if we practice forgiveness, we can be prepared. So when we are prepared, then we're not going to face this onslaught, are we, of anxiety. Think about things. Let's influence behaviours, because by doing that, we're taking ourselves out of the equation. We're not going to give ourselves the heart attack. We're not going to give ourselves unnecessary stress, are we? No. So let's always think of the situation and the people that we're dealing with by using inclusive language. Yeah, inclusive language. So if we do happen to be talking about somebody, it's what we say, isn't it? It's if we say, oh, I don't like the way you're doing this, blah de blah, then straight away you're going to get their back up, and the walls are up. The walls have gone right up. So let's think twice before. Let's think of the outcome. Let's think we don't want to get the defensive up. Let's just make life as easy as we can. So we look for ways in which we make sure our behaviours contribute in a positive manner, in a manner that is calming and not firing back. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this little discussion, and if you've enjoyed the video, maybe you could like and leave a comment. I always like to read comments, it means a lot to me. And if you subscribe, it's free, you don't have to pay, it's free, and by pressing the little bell icon, then you'll be notified of my future videos. And all this contributes to YouTube showing my videos more often, and they could be getting out there, and subjects that I discuss could help people. It could be just what they need at the right time. You know, it could be that somebody's experiencing trouble communicating, and then there could be a video here that will just help them, and the affirmations that are used as well will also help. So thank you again. It's lovely to have you here with me, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.